Breaking news tonight, Liverpool Football Club close in and are close to completion of a £130 million deal for Alexander Isak. The summer-long saga is coming to a head as we move into transfer deadline day. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Get that bell notification turned on as well, because Alexander Isak to Liverpool is getting done. The biggest deal of the summer transfer window is about to come to a conclusion. A massive, a hugely fundamentally important update from David Ornstein has just in the last few moments been revealed, and this is truly significant. It says negotiations over a deal for Alexander Isak to seal a move now center on Newcastle United's exception of a fee around 130 million. The original aim was 150 million. Liverpool, 120 million, and a first bid came to sort of a verbal offer of 120 million, and the first bid 110, nearing a compromise, is what David Ornstein says. That being stated, a number of journalists that I have personally reached out to tonight have said they are all on tenterhooks, as they believe the deal could complete in a matter of minutes, moments, in the forthcoming hours, as there are strong rumors that the deal has already been agreed behind the scenes and the formal announcements are very, very close. That the agreement between the clubs is done. Of course, it may take a little bit longer for the deal to officially complete and get over the line. This comes an hour or so, a couple of hours after Dave O'Cop, who said that Liverpool are closing in on a deal to sign Alexander Isak after positive talks on Sunday. Ben Jacobs has also confirmed this news as well, confirmed the news that this evening positive talks took place. Now, my personal feeling is these talks took place ever before this evening. I don't think tonight was hugely significant. I just don't think that Liverpool wanted too much of a distraction ahead of what was a massive game with Arsenal, a must-win game in what is going to be a very, very close season indeed. But this is, as I've already mentioned, a hugely significant update from Dave O'Cop, Dave O'Cop, Ben Jacobs, and of course, why was I about to call him Daniel Ornstein? David Ornstein as well. It's because Dave O'Cop got into my head. But this is massive. And look, there'll be a lot of Newcastle fans tonight, very, very disappointed indeed. And I get why. I understand why. I know the frustrations why. But this was always coming. Let's be absolutely honest. Let's be absolutely blunt. Let's be absolutely direct in everything that we're saying here. This was always going to happen. And what I thought was very, very significant was actually the update that came through maybe 2 hours ago now. And that was an update. And I don't mean to laugh, but I can't help myself but laugh at the Luke Edwards update. Now, Luke Edwards is someone that's been calling people simpletons all summer, stupid people, a typical journalist talking down to the working class men and women of this world. That's the majority of you. That's definitely me. Acting as though we're stupid and we're dumb and we don't understand the game. And the amount of articles not for sale. The stance is firm. It's got firmer. It's even stiffer now. It was stiff already, but now Viagra has been added to the situation and it's really stiff and hard. That's been going on all summer. Do you know what he said about 2 hours ago? And this was the moment when I sort of sat there and laughed. And I don't want Liverpool to get this player because it improves my biggest rival so significantly. But he said, and I quote, Newcastle will consider selling Alexander Isak without a replacement. It says they will give serious consideration to letting Alexander Isak sign for Liverpool if they receive a bid of 130 million on deadline day. And it's really funny because people like myself have received such high levels of abuse for suggesting 4, 5, 6 weeks plus ago that a deal could be done for around 130 million pound. This false media narrative, this lie that's been pushed by certain aspects of the mainstream media, including the likes of TalkSport, that Newcastle would stand firm, that there was no way the player was for sale, Liverpool bid 150 plus, you're not going to get it done. It's all turned out to be an absolute crock of shit. And I'm sorry to swear. I'm sorry if people have got children around, but I've got to call it for what it is. I've got to call it for what it is. I have to. I've got to call this out. I've got to say what this is to every normal person out there, especially the working classes, because the media pretend they write the news for us. They don't. They condescend. They hate what we are. They truly do. And we know that because they lie to us about things like net spend all the time. They've recently started. I heard Roy Keane just 2 weeks ago bemoan Arsenal's performance levels but winning against Man United. Today I hear him praise Liverpool for poor performances but winning games. And it isn't to have a dig at Liverpool or stick up for Arsenal, but it's the condescending nature we get from the mainstream media, the duplicity in what they say. And the Newcastle media, if they hold any credibility amongst Newcastle fans moving forward, shame on the fans. Because you're not worthy of the brains that your parents gave to you. You're really, really not. Because people like Luke Edwards a few weeks ago, as I've already mentioned, were calling people dullards and simpletons and stupid for not getting what he was saying, that Isak is not for sale. Ironically, within the same paragraph stated, unless all the conditions were met, but then whilst pushing out headlines that he is not for sale and the club's stance was final. The only mistake Newcastle have made here is allowing it to get to this point. Allowing it to get to this stage that they're going to let him go without having two strikers come in. If they'd have sold him for even 110, 120, 8-9 weeks ago, they would have probably had two replacements in. And in the end, they've had the opening 3 games of the Premier League season with no striker. With no striker, which has led to a situation where they have barely scored goals in their opening 3 games. They have just 2 points in their opening 3 games. And they should be in such a much stronger position. In fact, I actually think performance-wise, they've probably been good enough to win their opening 3 games. Give them a striker or two, they may have got that done. But instead of the Newcastle media caring about the fans, instead of the Newcastle media putting the fans first, what they've done is they've lied to the fans. The fans have had a summer online, angry at Liverpool, angry at Isak, sending out abuse in the wrong directions, where their anger and their criticism should have gone is towards their own football club. But their media has been taking brown envelopes and has been lying to them. But look, from a Liverpool point of view and perspective, this is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive in every single which way. This is also coupled with news tonight, and Sammy McBell has just put this story out in the last few moments as we are live. An agreement on the price and figures for Mark Gahey to Liverpool are really close. I expect that deal to be done tomorrow. And there's talk of that ranging between 35 and 40 million. And I've said this before to Liverpool fans, and I'll say it again and again and again. Yes, there's 1 year left on his contract, but it's worth the money. With what you will now get him for in terms of salary and agent fees and bonuses, if you get him for free in a year's time, the 40 odd million, let's go to the maximum you'll probably pay, 40 mil, including add-ons. You're going to add that. You're going to pay that anyway in his salary, massive signing on fees, massive agent fees, massive bonuses. You don't really, the only team that loses out is Crystal Palace, actually, because they get nothing. Liverpool are still going to, over a 5-year period, invest around the same amount of money. They might save themselves 5 million, 10 million, but Gahey's going to be massively beneficial to Liverpool to come in this season. And what a deadline day it's going to be. And there's a weird thing with Liverpool. They got the majority of their business done really early in the window and praised for it. And maybe their 2 biggest and 2 most significant deals are actually going to happen on deadline day, which is one of those things where I've said it for years, and I'll have to repeat it again next year for the simpletons that believe in the mainstream media. because of the lies they push, that you don't always get your number one target as the first signing through the door. Your number one priority doesn't always come in straight away. And this is, the proof in the pudding for me. But what a fantastic end. What a fantastic way for Liverpool to end what is an excellent summer, a perfect start to the Premier League season in terms of results. And I still think there's so much more to come from Liverpool in terms of, as I say, performances, because they've not really been there so far. And I see a few people in the comments will say, are you telling me that Arsenal are better than Liverpool today? That isn't really what I said. I see a few people complaining and moaning. Didn't say that in any way, didn't say that in any form. I'm simply pointing out that Liverpool weren't great today, but they won and got praised for it by Roy Keane, where Arsenal weren't great on the opening day of the season and won, but got slagged off for it but from Roy Keane. And I'm pointing out that the same media that attacks you attacks others. And what I don't do is play games with it. So I won't say the media are out of order towards Liverpool and then act like they treat everybody else well, because they simply don't. But massive breaking news, as I said, the deal is done and the deal is dusted, and you're going to start to see that break very, very soon indeed. Here we go. They're going to start dropping. Massive updates are on the way. As I say, I spoke to a number of very, 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 very credible journalists over the last couple of hours, and they've said you're going to start to see that news break soon. So I decided to go live. And just as I say that, we have a massive piece of news for you all. And that is now Luke Edwards confirming that Newcastle United have tonight agreed 130 million sale of Alexander Isak to Liverpool. It is done. It is dusted. It's over the line. Get yourselves ready, Liverpool fans. You have just made, in my opinion, the signing of the summer, a British transfer record by every stretch of the imagination. A massive, massive congratulations to each and every single one of you. But get the like button hit on this stream if you haven't done so already. Get yourselves subscribing to the Football Terrace, because this is a done deal that will soon complete. Look, we're going to bring on Tom Little. We're going to bring on KJ in a few moments, but we have to get something just updated on my screen here. Let me just add this, because this has been a crazy saga. And it's weird because I didn't want this deal to go through, but I almost feel a sense of vindication in myself, because I'm not even going to lie, the amount of abuse that I have had this summer just for talking about the possibility of this deal going through, it almost feels like, in a really strange way, it almost feels like a win. It almost feels like a win to me, although it isn't, because it isn't for my team. In fact, it's going to my biggest rivals. It's actually painful for me to listen to this and see this go through. But there's this element for me where I look at it and think, well, let me just get this there. There we go. The done deal is now on the screen. That is updated for you all to see. And I'm, as I say, pretty sure the here we go has just landed from Fabrizio Romano as well. Wow, the here we go has just been announced by Fabrizio Romano. We haven't played one of these live too much this year, but let's read what he says. Fabrizio here has just confirmed the news that Alexander Isak to Liverpool. Here we go. Deal agreed now for 130 million. Record move for the Premier League. Isak on his way for medical tests as a new Liverpool player after a long-term deal agreed months ago. It was always only Liverpool to Isak. Ben Jacobs is now confirming an update in this news as well. But the deal is done. The deal is over the line. The deal is now complete. And look, I said it before and I'll say it again. I told Newcastle fans, I told Liverpool fans all summer, I could just smell this one a million miles away. I could just smell it. This one had completed deal all over it all summer. Newcastle just delayed it. Essentially, that's it. That's all that's happened here is Newcastle have delayed it. Newcastle have slowed it down. Newcastle essentially stopped it happening sooner than it should have done. However, it's over the line now and it completes. Liverpool fans, we want to get your views. We want to get your opinions on this. As I say, the biggest piece of transfer news of the summer has now happened. And I do think it's the biggest piece of transfer news as well. And I stand on that, although that'll probably trigger some other fan bases. I just think when you look at the battle, the saga, the war between the football clubs, absolutely massive in so many ways, if that makes sense. I think this it's so significant in that regard. But it's done now. No more deliberating. We haven't got to wait around all day tomorrow for it either, because it's over the line now as we speak, live on the air. And we're just going to get a few bits updated as well on our overlay and thumbnail on this live stream. I'm going to get that done because we've got a different update now. We've got a different update. We can do that now. Let's just update this and update that to deal complete from deal done. And we're going to be bringing the boys on in just a few moments' time as well. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please get that done for the Football Terrace. It's really, really important to us that you do. A lot of Liverpool fans are going to be waking up to some seriously happy, to some massive smiles tomorrow morning. They're not going to wake up to massive smiles. They're going to wake up and have massive smiles on their faces. There's no doubt about that, because this is gargantuan. There's some of your comments here that have come through during this live stream. Let's have a look at what's being said. Isak official. Yes, it is done. Ornstein has also just updated, I believe, as well. Yes, Liverpool and Newcastle reach a total agreement. 100, and it's actually said 125 million cost to Liverpool. He has said a slightly different price to that of Fabrizio Romano. But the comments here, so basically Isak gave up on his loyalties. No, he didn't. He did what was right for him, the same as football clubs do. Ben Jacobs says 125 million. Yeah, I've just seen that as well from a few other people. But if it's 130, I mean, in fairness, it probably is 125. Newcastle are going to say 130, aren't they? Like it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme of things to most Liverpool fans, but I suppose it will to others. But there we go. It is done. It is dusted. It's over that line. I want to get your thoughts, want to get your opinions now live on the air as all of this news has been confirmed. What a birthday for me is what Jose says here. I bet it is if you're a Liverpool supporter. This is the league is done. Just give it to Liverpool already. A lot of defeatism from rivals in the comment section tonight. Great. I can't stop watching Newcastle fan channels now. Listen, KJ, I tell you when he comes on, we've been debating and arguing with Newcastle fans all summer. And it's never even been about being on Liverpool's side. Why would I be on Liverpool's side? I'm a Manchester United fan in every sense of the word. But it was absolutely not obvious, but it was obvious it could happen. And the way it was played out, and funnily enough, a lot of the fellow YouTubers who sort of hate the kind of content that we make and are always attacking what the Football Terrace does. One of the funniest things for me when it comes to this stuff is it was another one of those weird things I was attacked for back in April for even suggesting that this deal could happen. The amount of trolls on Twitter, the amount of trolls online that genuinely came for me, that called me out a liar and a scumbag and this and that and the other for even suggesting that it was a plausible deal. That's the craziest part to me. That's the bit that I've never really quite understood. It was the level of anger, the level of venom that came out of people. And I'm not talking about Newcastle fans. I'm talking about Arsenal fans and other Liverpool fans and United fans. It was just talking about the news. And the one thing that you always have to bear in mind when it comes to Liverpool transfer news, if their media, if their journalists are not playing it down, if they're either ignoring it. You saw earlier on today, Sasha Tavolieri put out a tweet saying Man United have sent a delegate to Stuttgart to talk about Stiller. Within 5 minutes, Fabrizio and Jacob shut it down. The Liverpool press do that to rumours that aren't true. Any rumour that might get Liverpool fans excited that has no truth to it, they shut it down quickly. The fact that weeks went by, April, May, into June, and they were just silent, that was the telltale sign that something huge and something significant could be happening there. I'm glad he is gone. Isak isn't worth 100 million. Great deal for Newcastle. That's what Epic Newcastle fan says here. Interesting take. I wonder as well, KJ, could we go back through all the old Isak videos and find all the people that said it wouldn't ever happen? I wonder if they'll all be, you know, when I get called out, Terry, you said that Højlund would be a good signing. Yeah, I did. It didn't work out. You know, like things like the Isak deal when you're like, I think it could happen. Didn't even say it would, just think it could happen. I wonder if all those people will come back and say, fair play, Terry. I doubt it. I doubt it very, very much indeed. Can someone please explain whether this is actually real and where they're getting the news from? But if you're having to ask that question, fuck's wrong with you? Fabrizio Romano, Ben Jacobs, Luke Edwards, David Ornstein, probably Paul Joyce by now. I haven't gone and checked. Absolutely, it's done. It is dusted. Newcastle to Liverpool. Alexander Isak is a done deal that will complete. This is confirmed in every single which way. There's no getting away from it. It's done. It's dusted. It's over the line. Nothing more needs to be said. Nothing more needs to be said. That's it. It's happening. It really is. Bear with me a second here, people. I just need to post one thing. I'm going to bring the panel out very, very soon. Don't you worry about that. We're going to take some calls this evening as well. Tomorrow morning show with Jamie is going to be very, very interested now as well. Changes everything. This changes everything. What's this saying privately? Oh, all our Newcastle fans are quitting the group chats. I shouldn't even laugh. This is my biggest rival's getting a really good player. But I do something about it. I just find there's just something about it I find so interesting. It's just such a weird deal all summer. I've never seen, and like, you know, it's really funny as well. All the Newcastle fans attacked the Ornsteins and Fabrizios and Jacobs for lying about this deal all summer. And nearly every single thing they've said has been true, even when they alluded to the fact that Newcastle could be open to compromise. Liars, liars, liars. Wow. There's something about it I find hilarious. There's something about it I find hilarious. And I always find, do you know what I always find hilarious in life? When people are not open to the other side. That's what I think it is. When people, you know, do you remember all those people that said, no way Arsenal getting Zubimendi? No. They wouldn't even contemplate the idea that it could happen. Do you remember those people? And I laugh, not because they're wrong, but because they weren't even open to the suggestion of it. And I think that's what's made me laugh about this Alexander Isak situation. It was just the sheer audacity of people to attack others simply for saying, oh, just some not even saying it will happen or could happen. Some people just for saying, do you think it could? Do you think that deal could happen? Some people were given so much abuse. It was unbelievable. So I think that's what I personally find funny about it. And again, if I was the employers of I'm not for cancelling people, because cancelling is different from sacking. Cancelling means they're not going to work again. If I was the newspapers for the Newcastle journalists, if I was the editor of those newspapers, I would be sacking them. I'd be sacking them for being so wrong. They've been so wrong all summer. It was only like 5 days ago. Do you remember? They all wrote the same thing unequivocally. The stance has been made. He will not be sold. Oh, my days. I mean, the fact they had the audacity to write it. Simpletons is what they said. You stupid working class simpletons. But there we go. Crazy. A super chat here says, fair play, Terry. Now get Gahey over the line. Well, Gahey's going to be next. Gahey will also happen in the next 12 to 15 hours. And it's then a complete summer for Liverpool. I know they bought him last year, but new keeper, new fullbacks, 2 new centre-backs, 2 new strikers, Wirtz, eight signings, all of top quality levels, top of the league, perfect start, 9 points out of 9. Listen, if you're a Liverpool fan and you're not happy, you're fake. I'm just going to put it out there bluntly. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm telling you your feelings aren't real. There's a difference. You're faking it, bruv. You're absolutely faking it if you're not sitting there and happy. I mean it. About football. You might have other problems in your life, which I get. But yeah, someone who says quality over quantity. Bro, that's quite a lot of players in one summer. That's quality and quantity. It really, really is. Fantastic business on every single level. It really, really is. Terry, who are you backing to win the league? Liverpool have been my favourites all along. I have said there's been times where it's flipped and changed, where I've sort of said, you know, they don't get Gahey, they don't get Isak. Arsenal could now be the ones who tip it. And I don't think it's Liverpool by a country mile and they're going to win the league by 10, 15, 20 points. And today kind of demonstrated the closeness between the two sides. Had it been at the Emirates, the result probably would have went the other way. But Liverpool have to be the favourites. And the biggest reason, it isn't just the Isak signing, which is now complete. It's also the element of experience and know-how of getting over the line. I have to side with Liverpool on this. Unfortunately for me, I have to side with them. Gahey and hopefully Rodri on loan would be fab. But now you're getting greedy, my bro. I don't know if Rodri will happen. Maybe it will, but I wouldn't expect to see any more. United should go for Milner. All right, bruv. Chill out. We're ninth, bruv. I'm well happy with that. No one thought we'd be ninth this season. We are now. You know what I mean? Best GA in the league as well. Most entries into the box too. What you saying? You ain't top of that league table. Terry, but that's too many changes, don't you think? Look, there's going to be an integration period that's needed. There's no doubt about that. And there is a lot of work for Liverpool to do to make it all work. But I think Liverpool just got it all done now. And there's certain players, Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkes, Ekitike clearly, Isak. I just think there's certain players that they couldn't wait. Oh, we'll wait next year. Liverpool have done that a few times in the last 5-6 years. I will get Bellingham next year. We'll get this player next year. And as the brilliant Ronan Keating once said, what if tomorrow never comes? I don't think he said, what if tomorrow never comes? He said, if tomorrow never comes. That's what he said. And it doesn't always come. I know how much she loves me. It's a great song, isn't it? I'd cry in every way. Show her every day. She's my only word. Newcastle, tomorrow has come. And Isak's gone. No matter what they tell you. That's what you should sing to your own media. However they attack simpletons. No matter where they take us. Isak won't be coming back. No matter if the sun don't shine. I can't sing, by the way. I'm a great presenter and host. No singing ability. If I could sing, do you think I'd be here, by the way? I'd be doing up weddings at the weekend. No matter what they tell you, Isak won't be back. Oh, Luke Edwards and Craig Hope, they lied to you. No matter if the sun don't shine. I know it's late, KJ, but I don't care. I don't care. Quit. No, I'm joking. I don't know the rest of the words. I'd make up more. What other songs did Boyzone sing? No, that was Westlife, wasn't it? If the going gets tough, Isak gets going. That's another cover. But anyway, I'm only bantering Newcastle because they gave me, some of their fans literally sent me death threats. Death threats. The irony. There's irony in there somewhere. Right, I'm going to bring the boys on now. And I say boys because they are all boys. Ladies are welcome too, but they're not backstage, so I can't bring them on. Do you know what I mean? Who have I got backstage? We've got Kai Jai. We've got Rakus. We have Samuel. We have Seb Whitman. Such a posh name, isn't it? Sebastian Whitman. Ew, posh. We have Mr. Ram. Oh, we didn't get Ram's here with us. Right. Let's bring them out. Hang on a minute. There's a super chat here I've got to go to. It says, this is just for your singing. Thank you, Abu. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. But just a bit of a laugh. Right, here we go, people. Let's bring out the boys here. Let me just check I'm on the right thing. Let me move to this one. Let me move this over. KJ's here. Tom, Rack, Seb, Ram, and Samuel. Welcome back to the show. Good morning. Tom, I'm going to come to you first. You've just gone and signed Alexander Isak.
Never doubted it for a second, mate. You know, I had doubts about it now. It was definitely always happening. And we've got it for a good price as well because, Mr. Luke Edwards, the oracle of everything, and how dare we ever question his authority and knowledge about Newcastle United, told me it'd be 150 or he's not going. By my calculation, 130 is not 150. Sorry, 125 is not 150.
125,
so we got a £25 million discount on that. We pay closer to what we want to than what they want to, but, how dare we ever doubt them?
Oh, hang on. No, he's just tweeted again and said, I was right. I meant it in euros, is what he just said.
Of course. There's always... You know what the worst thing is? You could have just stopped and said that I was lying, and I would have went, you know what, he might well have done. Let me just go double check that, because that's the kind of thing he does. Look, that's a mega sign. To break your record transfer once in a window is a sign of intent. And we needed a sign of intent this summer that we were desperate to stay at the top. And these first 3 games of the season, we've been showing that the players on the pitch want to stay at the top. The people upstairs are showing that they want to stay at the top as well. Breaking transfer record once in a window is a sign of intent. Breaking it twice in a window is a sign of we're not moving. We are here for the foreseeable. That new look attack, not only for the short term, for the long term, is going to be very dangerous. And if we get Gahey alongside it, on paper, it's one of the best windows you've seen from a Premier League team in terms of quality and in terms of quantity. Very few windows can match that. And I'm glad to see the back of the target. I'm glad that I'm never going to have to look at the word Domino's again. I'm never going to order a pizza from them because I don't need to see the word. I get PTSD from the amount of Domino's I've needed from about 6 different clubs to fall into place just so we could get them. Turns out none of them needed to happen. They just need to pull the finger out and sign a striker. And nothing else was needed. So, look, buzzing to finally get it over the line. He's going to be mega. He's going to have this international break with Sweden because, another thing, he's got to play, otherwise he won't get called up for Sweden. He hasn't played the first 3 games and it was the first name on the team sheet for Sweden. He got called up. So, look, that's by the by. We can banter Newcastle fans for days to come. He's going to go on the international break, get some minutes in his legs. Then we've got the end of September to get him up to speed. And then from October onwards, we'll have full speed ahead to batter the league again because, we are the only team with 100% record so far.
I just want to mention this as well. I've just quote tweeted something from the 20th of August where Luke Edwards quote tweeted something from the 19th of August. The 19th of August, he said, Newcastle will not sign players they don't really want to replace Isak. Been the same all summer. Had they got Ekatike or Sheshko and Liverpool bid 150 million, maybe he could have gone. Maybe being the key word, given the stance has always been not for sale, but signing a striker for the sake of it will not will do far more damage in the long term. Far better to keep Isak and reintegrate as hard as it can become. But that's been the plan all summer. He then tweeted it on the 20th saying, I did try and tell you. So I've just quote tweeted him and said, yeah, you told us, mate. Well done. This is what I mean about the journalism. And that's the thing that frustrated me. It was the playing down that it was possible. And it isn't even, of course I didn't expect him to say, yeah, Terry, oh yeah, Rack, yeah, Ram, yeah, Tom, yeah, KJ, yeah, Football Terrace, yeah, every other football fan in the world. We're not the only ones. We're not that arrogant. 100% will happen. But it was this, Rack, it was this constant, it can't happen, it won't happen if all these conditions aren't met. And the weirdest bit was most football fans, even ones that don't like Liverpool like me, were just sitting there going, something don't feel right about that. That's to you, Rack. Sorry. I did say Rack's name. Sorry.
Sorry, Terry. I was actually reading one of the comments. I didn't actually pick up what you said.
I'll
Rack was dining on these people.
We're all over the place. We are all over the place.
Hey.
I hear you.
Rack was drinking them Newcastle tears, man. It was just feasting.
It was soaking in them. No. At the end of the day, I think, Terry, I said this a couple of weeks ago about yourself. United are probably the best examples of doing this in their heyday. If as a big club, it's hard for a player of his stature to go out and say that he wants to make a U-turn. He's made his decision from the get-go, being like, I want to leave Newcastle. Liverpool is my first choice. And he said that from about a month ago, officially. And it's weird because it's a lot of Newcastle fans saying, we've got money, we can offer him this, we have Champions League football. But at the end of the day, Newcastle, although what they did last year, winning their first trophy in however many years, compared to the likes of Liverpool, United, and Arsenal, and it's going to sound very, very elitist, but it's factually correct. They are not at the level of these clubs. Like, these are the kind of clubs that players want to join. These are the kind of clubs that are looking to win and compete every single season. And for me, it was only a matter of time. Like, KJ, everyone in the group chat knows me and Stro were saying this. It's going to happen. It was going to happen.
One second, Ram. Before you continue on, we need to take a moment here. We need to take a moment, okay? Because we have probably one of the best sources in the game called Fabrizio Stromano. You see that, brother? He said months ago, Isak to Liverpool. He said how much it would be. He said the timelines of how it's gonna happen, and it's been pretty much bang on. So Stro, my brother, I don't have a drink or a glass, but I raise it to you, my friend. You've been excellent this window. He told us about Wirtz. He told us about Isak. He's told us about many deals, also not dealing with Liverpool as well. So Stro, for the people in the comments who don't know, Stro is an OG of the channel.
Yes. And Stro was the reason KJ didn't go to bed tonight. Because Stro's like, stay awake. Basically, I went to go to bed. I'm knackered. But Stro's basically like, no, I think he said maybe 3 hours ago, he's like, stay awake. Here we go. He's probably landing tonight. So yeah, Stro knows his stuff. He's got some really good connections at Liverpool Football Club and was absolutely spot on. And that's also one of the reasons why I just didn't believe the Newcastle press. None of what they were saying for me personally made any sense all summer, because there's people I know personally that I trust on a real level that were just saying the complete and utter opposite to what the Newcastle press were, and that is why I sided with the mainstream in terms of Fabrizio, Ornstein, etc., because they were being balanced with it. And you're all in the same group chats as me, where people are sitting there and they're like, nah, Ornstein ain't balanced. I'm like, no, he literally is. He'll write that Isak said this, and then he'll write Newcastle refute it and say that. That's literally the epitome of balance. You know what I'm saying? But a massive. But aside from all of that, I want to go to KJ here as a rival to this. This is a massive, massive piece of business for Liverpool Football Club, and hugely significant in terms of the title race.
Yeah, it's huge. They're saying that we're going to try and go back to back. We're going to try and go for the Champions League. We're going to try and go for the Carabao Cup. We're going to try and go for the FA Cup. Listen, this statement signing is saying to everyone, we're going for the quad. And the thing with Liverpool is we could laugh at them for saying we're going for the quad. Obviously, Trent's got that famous line of Jurgen quad and all of that, and it ended up in not being that. But they were 2 games away in the past. They would have been 2 games away from winning the quad. And so if you're telling me Liverpool can't go in with the quad, it's possible. It is possible. And this signing Isak is them saying we're going for the quad. And as a rival, I'm frustrated. I'm jealous. I'm envious. I'm looking at my club differently. Like, where's this ambition? We can't even get a goalkeeper and midfielder over the line, let alone 2 British transfer records in one window. But as a football fan, I've got nothing but respect for what Liverpool has done. You've gone out and did what you need to do. You've got a target. You had him. You wanted him, and you gone out and did it. And it makes me laugh because I know Seb's an Arsenal fan. For years, we heard that Isak to Arsenal that's how it's going to be. That's going to be the move. That's going to be where Isak goes. He's dreaming of Arsenal. I remember Arsenal fans tracking a car that was over in the UK.
Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, the Rolls-Royce. They're tracking it. It's Isak.
Isak number plate.
Yeah. It's Isak. It's coming to the carpet. All of that. And Liverpool has took it away. And you guys didn't do no prop. You guys didn't do no tracking of planes or cars. You guys just knocked on the door and did your game plan. You had your plan. You enticed Newcastle. You said, yo, here's 110. They're playing hardball. They're playing hard to get. You knew them man would open them legs. You know what I'm saying? You knew it was happening. So you just have to wait, bide your time. Let her deal with her ex. Let her deal with the ex. Let her deal with the friends. Let her do all of that. But you know it's coming, and you got what you wanted. And you know what? Fair play. And for the rest of the league, no, listen, you got a target on your back now. You already did, but this is going to put a massive target on you guys' back. So if you guys can overcome that, then even more respect to you. But as a Man United fan, screw you. Screw your club. You guys. I hope you guys burn. Yeah, it's well done. That's all I can say. Really, well done.
Can I be bold enough to say we're still not done? We're still not done.
Listen, you got Gay. Yeah, you got Gay coming as well. Potentially, no, potentially it will happen. I think so. You've covered yourself well. Like the ambition is crazy.
The thing is, we've improved and we've brought in elite level quality. We've brought in very, very good players. And generally speaking, there was a period when Nunes came in and some of the other recruitment was kind of questionable. And even amongst that, we still brought our McAllisters and we still brought other guys in who could kind of prove their worth. But in general, our recruitment has always been very good. But the big challenge for the club was we built this team around big players like Alisson, Van Dijk, and Salah, and those three players are yet to be replaced or have yet to be replaced. This is a big move towards replacing Salah when Salah's contract runs out in a couple of years, and I think there's even a possibility that this season may be his last season. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a kind of quite an FSG thing to do that. This may be Salah's last season. We sell him for 100 million for Saudi. We recoup some of our money. We then look at reinvesting. But I was quite critical when we heard that FSG were looking to sell the club. I questioned their commitment. The fact that they're putting the pieces in place to replace eventually Alisson with maybe Mamadashvili, possibly, and maybe at some point in the future Virgil van Dijk, who was a colossus today, by the way. I think Virgil could play for another 3 or 4 years for sure, beyond this current contract. Says to me that actually they are taking the sporting project seriously. They're not just looking at the money side of things. And I'm not doing FSG prop. I'm just saying that as Liverpool fans, it gives us some reassurance that we're going to be at the top of this game, at the top of the Premier League for the next 5 seasons at least, right? Isak, 5 seasons will take him to 30, 31 years old. And hey, there he is.
And even Stramano.
And lastly, even with Ekatike and Wirtz and players like younger players like that coming in, who've got more than 5 years, they've got a good 7 or 8 or 9 years in. It shows that we've brought in elite quality, but not just for the next few years, for the medium and the long term. We're not going anywhere.
Every facet in terms of improving the now, improving for the future as well. Like we're buying in players that are looking to win the major trophies now. We also got likes of Rio and Gamoa coming through as well, who's going to be there for hopefully 10 years time. Like I just don't see us going anywhere at all.
It's like the old adage, isn't it? That like rich people get richer. And they say poor people get poorer. I'm not going to get into the politics on that. There are elements of truth to that, but some of it is just because when you got money, you can invest in new things and that can make more money. It isn't always as evil as people make it sound. And when you're in a very good position, Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world. With good recruitment, theoretically, you should always stay there. Why have City dropped off? I don't think it's because Pep's become a bad manager. Their recruitment in the last 3 years has actually been pretty poor. You actually look at the vast majority of their signings, they haven't been good enough. Man United's one of our biggest issues has been bad culture in the dressing room, coupled with bad signings. It's toxic. You know, you sign better players, typically your team do, which is why I've always rejected the notion of checkbook manager. Well, all good teams throughout the history, the modern day history of football have gone out and spent good money for their time, if that makes sense. All the stories are there. I've got a rival for a second, Seb. Obviously, you're a Gooner. Obviously, disappointing loss today to Liverpool. But how significant is this Isak signing in relation to the title race and that side of things? How do you see it?
I think it does. I think Liverpool are favourites anyway, but it's definitely made them more of a favourite than they were already. obviously they needed firepower up front, really, because they didn't have much depth there. I think it allows Ekitike to drift out wide. I think Ekitike has been fantastic himself, so obviously he's going to be a bit more disappointed that maybe he's not going to get full minutes up front anyway, but you need a squad to win the league now anyway, so it's a fantastic signing. I'm personally more worried if they get Gahey, because I've been saying since pre-season that Liverpool's main issue seemed to be at the back. They're letting Quansah go in at much depth there. You know what Gomez is like. But Isak in conjunction with the Gahey news, for me, is even more worrying. But it looks like they're going to be fighting on multiple fronts here. So obviously it's a fantastic signing. 20 goal a season striker. He's pretty much guaranteed at least 15 goals, let's be honest, adding that to Salah as well. As Rack said, it seems to be more of a replacement for Salah, in my opinion. So they've got baby Isak, and now they've got full Isak as well. So you've got 2 generations of Isak in the same squad, which is dangerous because it also weakens Newcastle. Newcastle were a European fighting team, so you're doing a double whammy. So yeah, it is a bit scary, but I do think Arsenal, obviously we've got the better Swedish striker anyway, so you enjoy yours, we'll enjoy mine. But yeah, we're going to win the league anyway, so you guys be happy now, because we're going to win it anyway. But yeah, it's big news, I can't lie. It's not the news I wanted as an Arsenal fan, but it is quite funny to see Newcastle fans get humbled, because sometimes, especially a lot of the last couple of seasons, them beating Arsenal, they get very lippy. So to take them down a notch is fine. And I don't have any hatred towards Liverpool at all anyway, so it doesn't bother me like that. But yeah, it's a big signing, obviously. And yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't get done, but it has been done. So congratulations.
It's really funny because I tweeted the thing at Luke Edwards, and like Newcastle fans respond again. Why are you even like bothered about this? It's your biggest rival signing a better player, and he ends it with fucking freak. And it's those comments, my friend, is why I'm laughing, because all I've done is report on the possibility of it happening. And the level of, I mean, that's probably the lightest level of abuse that I've had. And so that's why people are kind of laughing at Newcastle. It was also the fact that you wouldn't, it ain't all Newcastle fans. We have a lot that come on the show that are brilliant, but they do this thing. They want no one talking about their club, but they're free to speak about everybody else's. And I don't think they've realized that they've just wound a lot of people up, especially fans of the other big clubs in England, where we all talk about each other's clubs. And the one thing you rarely see, you might get the Trent moment where Liverpool are saying, listen, don't tell us how to feel about our club. The same as I'd always tell you guys, don't tell me how to think about how to feel about the Glazers. But we all talk about each other's clubs, and we're kind of comfortable and used to that. Newcastle come along with their new money, and fair play to them, trying to build. And it was, we can laugh at United, we can slag off City for this, we can slag off Arsenal for that, but don't any of you dare speak about our club. It just didn't sit right with me. It's like, if you want to join the table and be part of the elite group, good, bad, or indifferent, the one thing you have to learn to take is everybody speaking about your football club. And I don't think some Newcastle fans have quite got with the program yet. You want to be a big boy, you're going to get a lot of attention. Samuel, there's a question I want to post to you. This is from Mama Flossie, one of our moderators. How do you think Ekitike and Isak will work together in your team and squad? Can it work, in your view?
That ain't my problem. That's Slot's problem. Let him figure it out. I don't care.
Just finish the show then. Let's finish the show. It doesn't matter.
Like, listen, even Igal said it the other time when I think they got Eze. Like, that's Arteta's problem. Like, we've got quality now. One of the teams that I was so envious of with Man United was when they had Tevez, Ronaldo, Berbatov. They had options. And he had I think they had 4 strikers of quality. And I always thought, why don't Liverpool ever get that? We actually have that now. We've got quality. And yes, there'll be questions of how we're going to integrate these players with each other and stuff like that. Again, I'm at this moment, I'm a fan. I don't give a damn. Just whatever Slot does to make us win games, to make us win trophies, I'm going with it. Because we have quality to fight on all fronts now. Especially if we get Gahey, which is going to happen. I'm going to say this right now. It's a done deal. Exclusive from Samuel. It's a done deal. We've got him. But we've got quality to now go on all fronts. Because we were looking a little bit light in our attacking options. Let's not lie. We are looking at, we sold Diaz, we sold Nunes. But now, especially on the Nunes front, we've upgraded significantly higher than what we had before. and we still won the league with Nunes. And on Jota, but he had injury issues. And RIP Jota, we always, and I did see James Milner's celebration today. That was very touching. I can't lie, James Milner. But now we've upgraded significantly. It's just it's a breath of fresh air for me. To all the rival fans, I told you, lot, if Liverpool somehow click this season, it's over for the league. It's over. Number 21 is coming. We're going back to back, baby.
Yeah, it certainly could happen. Stroh's with us now. Stroh, KJ gave me his flowers earlier, and so did I. Has been probably one step ahead of all the mainstream media outlets on this deal in the group chat. And I'm out of the stick from the likes of Ches and other people that the deal wasn't going to happen. Stroh just kept his counsel, kept cool the whole time, and it's happened. In fact, you revealed it to KJ, and KJ to me, a good couple of hours before the likes of Luke Edwards and stuff. But you must, aside from knowing what was going on to a certain degree, you must be chuffed with this quality of player coming to Liverpool.
Oh, 100%. Like I said this at the end of last season, I'd have picked Darwin Núñez up and I'd have walked into Newcastle as a replacement. Like, honestly, Alexander Isak, for me, best striker in the world last season, best striker in the Premier League last season. You've got Ekitike. Now, what I found funny was Newcastle at the beginning of the summer was saying they're going to play a 4-4-2 with Isak and Ekitike up top. How's that worked out for him?
They were talking about
the thing is I wouldn't have minded paying 150 million, I'll be honest, because Isak is that good of a player, and what he does for us, he transforms everything for us. He will replace Salah's numbers. It's just as simple as that. Obviously, everyone's going to have their issues with his fitness because of the injuries and stuff like that. But when you look at what Slot did in terms of the training program for the likes of Jota, didn't miss that many games last season compared to what he has in previous seasons. And you look at the Liverpool's injury record last season, it went significantly down compared to what it was under Klopp. So, look, this is massive. And like I said, I just found it funny that everyone kept going, I just paid 150. The 150 was never there. That 150 million figure was never, ever, ever in play. It never was. Because what this deal does for Newcastle in terms of PSR, they can go and spend double now. This could transform Newcastle in terms of there's so many things that they can do with this now. And I was watching at the beginning saying you were 100% spot on. If they'd have just done this at the beginning of the summer, they'd have had the two strikers in already. This fear of them not wanting to overpay, they're going to have to overpay for another striker now. Because they've got the Larson deal that's potentially in the works. I think Nicholas Jackson could come back into play at some point tomorrow, depending on what happens there. But it's just silly from Newcastle. The way they've handled this whole thing is just ridiculous. This deal has been agreed in principle for a long time. The fee's been there for a long time. It was always about them getting the striker in. They've got the striker in now. I still feel like, obviously, Gahey is done. I feel like Harvey Elliott could move tomorrow, which means we could dip back into the market potentially. But I'd be very surprised. I think that could be a January thing. But Isak's been my dream signing for the past 2 seasons. I mean, when you watch what he did in the Carabao Cup final against us, you see what he does to the likes of Saliba and Gabriel. Like, they can't handle him. He's just that good of a player. To stick him in a team with Salah for a season, Van Dijk, with Wirtz, who I feel like was really good in the second half. He got a lot better. And I feel like once he finds his feet, he'll really light the league up by storm. Gakpo looks a completely different player under Slot. We could do something special this season.
And sure, let me just interrupt you just quickly. Isak is one of the strikers in the world that I wanted because he's the type of striker I grew up on. Kind of like an all-round striker that can do everything. He can drop deep. He's a goal scorer. He's added that to his game because he wasn't really as much of a goal scorer when he was at. He was a goal scorer, but it wasn't as prolific as now he is. Now he's grown into that. He's knowing the positions that he needs to be in. But when I came into the transfer window, I said we needed a striker and we needed a centre attacking mid. So the list I had for centre attacking mids was either Wirtz, if we could get him, Cherky, or Xavi Simons. We got Wirtz, lovely, cool. The list I had for strikers was actually Isak, Alvarez, or Ekitike. The fact that Liverpool have gotten Ekitike and Isak. When as a Liverpool fan have we ever seen this before? And this is where I have to say now, FSG, I have criticised you all these years, but this is what I wanted you to do. This is what I wanted you to do. Now, if we don't spend next summer or the summer after, because we've done most of the spending right now, I don't mind. But this is the intent, the risk spending that I wanted to see you do from previous seasons. This is what keeps us winning stuff. This is what keeps us at the top. And Isak is one of those guys, as we all said, he's going to be the Salah replacement. If we just keep him fit, keep him on the training program so the injuries lessen, I'm telling you, we're going to go back to back, and hopefully we'll do a 3-peat as well.
Yeah, no, yeah.
4p or 5p.
Nah, 5p, relax with the 5p, my bro. Relax with the 5p. Well, now, if we truly analyze this, Samuel just made a good point about Ekatike and Isak. Newcastle could have had their number one replacement in Ekatike, but them man tried to be Billy Big Bollocks. Like when I was questioning Newcastle in the operations of this, you got Newcastle saying, "No, you can't say that. We're operated right. We're operating like a big club. We're keeping our guys, and we're gonna add on top." Bruv, everyone knew you weren't adding on top, bro. What are we talking about here? What are we doing here? Listen, you tried something. You got people here saying that Liverpool has been played. Oh yeah, we pump fake them into getting Ekatike for an overinflated value. Oh yeah, we pump fake Man United for getting Sasha for overinflated value just to go spend 90 million euro, 85 million euro, 80 million euro on a striker with 14 career goals. As much as Watamada is exciting, if you want to talk about who's getting played here, you guys have played yourself. You guys played yourself. You guys had Ekatike through the door already.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I mean, I'm having a bit of a laugh with a couple of the Newcastle guys in the group chat now because they're like sort of defending Luke Edwards and Craig Hope, and I'm just sort of sitting there like, these men, these journalists are accountable for. They're not accountable for the way the club behaved. The club behaved the way it did. They're accountable for misleading fans. And yes, these journalists got a lot of abuse this summer, but when you're out there calling working class people simpletons and stupid and essentially saying they're thick, that led to a lot of Newcastle fans, and I'm not blaming the good Newcastle fans for this, to abusing loads of different people. And it created this atmosphere where if they would have reported on it accurately, like the bench. And by the way, not everyone gets every single little detail correct and right. We've seen tonight, Luke Edwards has said 130 million. There's 125. In fairness, 125 million is what Ornstein has said. In fact, Ornstein, I think, has just changed it. No, he's kept it 125. And Ben Jacobs said 125.
It's something to do with solidarity payments going to clubs.
Liverpool pay.
So in essence, they're kind of right. But it turns out a lot of these people were speaking somewhat the truth. When you read these again, when it comes to who was more accurate in the reporting this summer, Ben Jacobs and Ornstein and Fabrizio that got the abuse, or this report just over a week ago that says Newcastle now have no, in capital letters, intention of allowing Isak to leave in light of the bombshell statement. Look at the replies from Newcastle fans. My club, finally, a backbone. Yes, Craig. Yes, Luke. Yes, Keith. My club. And I'm sitting there watching it in real time going, you're all going to regret this. You're not reading the room. And those journalists, purely to grow their popularity, have spent the summer calling out other journalists, calling out content creators like Mark Goldbridge. And it isn't the calling of it out. I want to address this to a few Newcastle fans. So you're only angry because I called out Ben. Neeks is an example. Neeks is one of my longest standing friends in the social media game, consistently calls out Ben Jacobs. I don't kick him out of the group chats. I don't even challenge him when he says it, because it's not about, oh, I know Ben and he challenged him. It was the way you fueled a very vulnerable and emotional and frustrated fan base into believing the wrong things. And I think they're so gaslit and so indoctrinated by their press. They're not gonna get with fans. Everyone wants to be part of something, and it's us against the world. And I get that mentality, but those fuckers pissed me off so much this summer. Not for what they didn't say nothing about me. I don't even think any of those journalists know who the fuck I am. It was the way I saw those headlines written, and I just read them the whole time and went, I can't believe they can't see through the bullshit in this. And by the way, I want to shout out Kane. I want to shout out Mama Flossie. I want to shout out Ash, the regular Newcastle fans that came on all summer and also called them out. If more of you did that, I think you'd be in a much better disposition. And maybe if more Newcastle fans did that, your club would have done the right thing weeks ago. And I think you'd be sitting right now on 9 points even at the beginning of the league season, because you've actually played quite well. You just haven't had strikers to finish your chances. So I do feel for the majority of Newcastle fans, because I think your club has behaved amateurish, and the media connected to you has fed that bullshit. And listen, I'm a United fan. I've seen media outlets for a good 6-7 years blow smoke up our asses and make it sound like the Glazers are doing nothing wrong, and everyone got suckered into it. And maybe that's why I could see through it, because I've seen those lies before, and it only ever ends in fucking tears. I'll tell you that. Sorry,
there was one thing I wanted to mention just about, but now's not the day for Liverpool fans to crash it on Newcastle and all that kind of stuff. But
No,
I think one of the things that has come out is, and they've become specifically vocal about the whole PSR thing and the red cartel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not sure whether the new Newcastle ownership have actually done that much to suggest they actually are going to spend at the level, or they even intend to spend at the level of like a Man City or whatever. Because when it's come to stuff like improving their training ground, and even I know there was some talk about them maybe moving stadium or something, like they have been in power now for like 3 years, and none of that stuff has transpired. My understanding is their training ground is still pretty average, if to put it mildly. Like, these are things that are outside the realms of PSR that they can do, and it won't affect their PSR at all. But they've kind of neglected to do that. So I don't. Maybe they're not the kind of like Abu Dhabi type ownership that's been suggested all along.
Right. The problem is Newcastle's an absolute mess behind the scenes. Like, you've got Eddie Howe, who's acted like an interim sporting director in a position he should never be put in as a manager. And there's a lot of pressure on him there. But Isak, from what I was told Newcastle he wanted to leave around April time. So at that point, you then put together a shortlist. You then start speaking to agents. You then start going, there's an opportunity that he could be the leading number 9 for Newcastle. We've got Champions League, etc., etc. And you go after your targets. And you do it early. You go and get Sesko early before Manchester United, because we can completely take him off you. You go and do the legwork on Ekatike. You go and do the legwork on whatever strikers there. But they failed to do that. If they'd have acted like that, they'd have had Wissa through the door immediately. They'd have had Larson through the door. They'd have had 2 strikers in the door. This is the problem. I feel sorry for the Newcastle fans, because the way that Luke Edwards has acted is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm not being funny. How dare you, as a journalist? And I thought certain journalists act with integrity, and that's the way that they try to act and stuff like that. Like, I know I've got my sources, I know this, I know that. But when you're seeing stuff on social media and he's calling people idiots and stuff like that, and he's coming out with the stuff that he's coming out with, when it's factually not true. Because let's just put things into perspective for a second. Richard Hughes and Eddie Howe are very, very good mates. Michael Edwards has got a very, very good relationship with PIF, because they've tried to get him a number of times. Newcastle tried to make Michael Edwards, before he came back to Liverpool, sporting director for Newcastle. There's good relationships behind the scenes. So you're telling me that when they was Newcastle are raging with the way that Liverpool have approached this situation, the £110 million bid is disrespectful, so what a potential British transfer record bid is disrespectful? No, it's nonsense. All you're doing is fueling a fan base into a toxicity it doesn't need to go into. This deal has been done for a long time. Long time.
Yeah. So I totally agree. And I felt all along this was about them finding replacements. But it's the way they've fed it into the Newcastle fans that makes me feel sorry for them, in the sense of, this is where I think journalists this is where some do a bad job. Where instead of going, do you know what I should be writing about is how Newcastle's behavior and Newcastle being in deadlock is going to hurt the team. I'm going to kind of fight their corner and say it's for the betterment of the football club. And the one thing that City do that I think is phenomenal, if a player says, I want to go, they say, bring us X price and you can go. And it's nearly always a reasonable price. Now, I know they're saying that Savio can't go, but I think that's because they can't get the replacement they want. I don't think it's about saying no to him. I think it's about them not getting a replacement they want and need. And all along, I've said the same thing. I have never believed that Isak leaving ruins this project that Newcastle are on. I think that is disrespectful to Newcastle United. And in fact, we spoke about this before on more emotive matters in the world. I'll never treat another human being because of where they're from, or the god they pray to, or the skin color they have, or their sexual orientation. I'll never pat them on the head like a dog and go, "Oh, bless you. I've got to look after you because you're so vulnerable." I don't think I look at that view in really serious matters, and I also look at things through that lens when it even comes to football. I don't need a journalist to pat me on the head and tell me everything's going to be okay. I want the journalists who have access to ask the tough questions, to write the tough articles. I don't think these journalists realize if they actually put the fans first and wrote and said things that help the football club. So you might get journalists that slag your football club off, but actually we get at United, loads of our journalists slag our club off, but they never actually focus on the root cause problems that we all care about, the owners and the debt and how they can get it paid off. It's always something superficial, like our manager not looking at the penalties, which is frustrating, but actually it's really a small problem at the club compared to the big issues. And this is the thing that frustrates me all summer. I saw it, I was like, Newcastle, man, your club's got some problems at the moment, and you're being sort of, there's a little bit of sleight of hand going on here, and you're looking over here at Isak and Liverpool when actually you should be looking at the problems deeper and closer to your club. I'm going to jump to some super chats here, boys, because a few people have sent these in. Ronin said, as an American EPL fan since the beginning of 1992, this is the only major difference I'll never get used to. Leaving with 3 years left sucks for fans. Yes, clubs terminate contracts, but they still pay. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know the rules things in the States compared to here, but it's essentially, it does, but that's why you pay the transfer fee. In the States, I think transfer fees do happen, but normally it's just a trade, right? It's like normally a player goes and you get something back in return, where it's monetary here. Everyone upset today because they bet for over 2.5 goals. I bet a lot of people lost the money today. Who's favourites for the league now? Got to be close. Would you all? Who do you guys all say? All Liverpool? We all agree Liverpool favourites.
Arsenal favourites. They played us off the park apparently today, so Arsenal favourites.
Well, we had a dodgy decision. They should have got a penalty or something like that, and they should have won apparently. So yeah.
As the only Arsenal fan here, I don't know who's saying that, to be honest. You're definitely favourites. Take the pressure off us. I don't want it. You could be favourites. You're definitely favourites.
Also heard they have a better starting 11 as well.
Leopards in a tree. When Newcastle come to Anfield, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it'd be a great game, just like last Monday night. It was amazing. I love the news, but this ain't good for Rio and Gamoa.
No, doesn't change anything for him.
I don't like this stuff. Again,
He's 16 years old.
Like no one.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Plus, it benefits him as well, because we don't have to throw him into the limelight all the time. We can progress him as the way we want, and he's good enough. Like he has chances, man. It's fine.
Ram, this is the problem with football fans. They don't really understand football. Like, in what world is Rio going to play every single minute as a 16, 17?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. He's going to go through ups and downs. He's going to get taken out of the limelight because he will find a bad spell of form, and he's going to get managed properly. I mean, look at how Fergie used to manage.
Yeah,
it was understanding.
Yeah, there's that. I think it's sometimes a lack of understanding, but also an element of standing a player. And I can't have anything get in the way of that player's development. Where typically speaking, there are a handful of examples of clubs getting things wrong, letting a young player leave, and they go on to be great elsewhere. Palmer's a sort of example of that in recent times. But typically speaking, the youngsters that we all rave about that end up not making it and you move on, typically don't make it to the highest level of the game anyway. There's a reason. There's often, we've all had kids at our club where we're going, oh, why ain't X player that I love playing more games? Why isn't he doing this? You actually look at, I would say 95% of the players that we don't see play that annoy us end up not doing very, like KJ, the player we loved at United, Ethan Laird. Is it Ethan Laird? And KJ liked him. But at the end of the day, like KJ weren't kicking off about it, but it's an example of he's a good player, a good pro. I think he's playing. I think the last time I checked, he was at Wigan. And I'd love to have been good enough to play for Wigan in League One, League Two.
He's now. He's in Brom.
Okay, he's at Birmingham now, actually. So they're actually a championship team actually again now. So he's at that level. But at the end of the day, like if KJ chose to stand him instead of being a Man United fan and got angry, and this is what people do, though. I'm not saying you're going to do this, by the way, LFC 92. I'm not suggesting you're doing this. But a lot of people do, where they go, right, I'm going to, Rio and Gamoa is the guy I'm going to stand. And then if he isn't getting the game time in the minutes, the knee-jerk reaction of stands and player FC is to start attacking your manager for not understanding football and having a go at him. When actually, if the reason he ain't getting game time, 99 times out of 100 is because he just isn't good enough in the longer term. So
it's because of Messi and Ronaldo. It's because of Messi and Ronaldo and how they as kids they kept on playing season after season and putting up stupid numbers every season. That's why I agree. Think they like that. Even to the extent Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal is the new one as well.
I agree. If the Reds sign Gahey, which will not happen because of the owner, how would you rate this transfer window, especially now that Isak is there? What do you rate it out of 10, boys, if you get Gahey?
9.5.
Yeah.
A 9.5.
I still want Stiller in my club.
Oh, round shot, man. Forget it. Leave that alone. Leave that alone.
You've got to be giving this a 10 out of 10, man. You've got to be giving it a 10 out of 10. You can't sign the 8 players. If Gahey happens, you can't do that and then be like, I still want more. That's ridiculous, bruv.
I'm greedy.
It's the best transfer window any Premier League club's ever had.
Yeah, it's up there, man. Somebody says, Terry, what you're talking about, Rio and Gamur is great. That's not what I said. I know he's brilliant. But let's just say he plays quite a bit this year, and then less the year after, less the year after that. It is more likely than not that it isn't that Slot doesn't know football and doesn't rate him. It's more likely that he isn't good enough over that course of time, that he isn't playing, than a top manager isn't recognizing his talents. It's as simple as that. Because most players you see that don't get into the first team, it isn't because the players don't recognize the talent. It's because they're not good enough, because they typically don't go on to be better than the current players you've got at your team. Just go through your own academy and look who gets released versus who doesn't. Verts, Isak, Salah, Ekatike, Gakpo, unstoppable. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fantastic library. I mean, Liverpool have scored in every single Premier League game for a calendar year. So from a goal scoring point of view, you're already pretty much unstoppable. Nearly today, but it didn't quite happen. Listen, I want to thank every person who's tuned in. It was a late night stream. I'm glad I stayed up for it. This is going to redirect you to Hassam's channel. I'm also back at around 10:30 tomorrow morning for Straight Facts with Jamie and George. So I look forward to seeing you all on that show. Stro, Seb, Ram, KJ, of course, we had Rack and Tom here earlier. Thank you all very, very much for coming on the show and for giving us your views and giving us your opinions. But until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.